Hello everyone, today we're going to be looking at the book Callan Uncovered and doing an overview by James Mitchell. So here you go. A really interesting quote from this book says, "In Callan's world, loyalty is a currency no one can afford, and survival depends on never trusting the hand that holds a gun, even if it's their own." Basically what this quote is saying, that you never know who you should not trust, or you don't even know who you should trust throughout the story. You will see a lot of that with a lot of foreshadowing. Setting and background. A lot of the setting and background of this story is there's a lot of collective stories that have been uncovered by our agent named David Callan, which is his full name. He works for a secret organization called the Section, where they find people to assassinate as well as plans to steal and figure out either if they're evil or if they're going to compromise their own secret organization. They operate on very gray areas of morality, of being humans versus humans, and they decide what is right and what is wrong. So the characters in this book that we will meet are obviously the main one, David Callan, who is described as a skilled, dangerous, and constantly conflicted agent. He is also haunted by his past of violence and past deeds that he did. Something unusual for his character, though, is as a spy, he questions his job and the agency of what is really right and wrong. Some side characters that we will see throughout the book are Lonely, which is Callan's partner. He is known to be a very sneaky and can be distrustful but smart thief in his own crooked way of being loyal to him. Another person that we will know about is Hunter, who is Callan's supervisor and is always representing spying in a very, very cold way as his supervisor for the agency. A lot of the stories for this book, as well as missions, are people investigating corrupt individuals and officials, criminal investigations on past criminals who were not charged, and conflicts with the agency, the Section. And every story shows how Callan uses his morality versus duty to combat each situation at hand. But in each time, he's always questioning, is this the right thing to do, or is this plain wrong? Making his character one of the most complex I've seen in the genre of spying and mystery, which is very cool. More on that, the themes of this book really demonstrate and describe what the previous slide was talking about. Themes like violence and consequence and control versus freedom play a huge part of the book and Callan's job working for the Section, as well as trust on knowing who he can and cannot trust throughout the story, which his job also demonstrates. This is also why he seems to have trust issues with any and all people, even if they don't work for the Section, even if they are not even involved in any of the missions, just regular, everyday people. A good summary I would give this book is when Callan takes on new assignments and missions all throughout the story, he starts to realize that the organization is trying to manipulate him into actually knowing what is right from wrong, killing either innocent or evil. He starts to wonder, is this really doing justice, or is he as worse as the people they think they are? Making him question everything that the organization has told him about, everything that they are doing for the specific reasons. Now here's the personal connection, which is probably my favorite part of this book. I love how this book reminds me a lot about the James Bond series. I've always enjoyed watching that as a kid, and they are quite similar, Callan and Bond. Both work for secret organizations, Callan working for the Section and Bond working for MI6. Both British organizations of British intelligence, and they both kill and sabotage plans of evil people or people who may harm others. Now for the academic response. For as far as the difficulty of this book, I would not say it's a high level of difficulty for somebody to read. Obviously, I would recommend somebody who is a little bit older to read this so they can get a grasp on the material. But the biggest thing is throughout the book, there is a lot of foreshadowing and clues that you might find all throughout the book that foreshadow very important parts of how, for example, Callan struggles. Final thoughts on this book, Callan Uncovered, is I really enjoyed reading this. I absolutely love the genre of the mix of mystery and spies in it. As I stated before, it reminds me a whole lot of James Bond and really brought back a ton of memories reading this book. I would also like to compare it to John Wick. And with the question of I always had while reading this is, will Callan ever find peace, even during his work? Similar to how John Wick was living in a world full of killing and never stopped and never found his purpose other than killing.